Welcome back, everybody. It is the 8th episode of the Sportsgasm podcast, the podcast by the fans for the fans, because we believe that we are the most qualified people to talk about sports. I'm your co-host, Isaac.
I'm Kylie.
And we have our familiar face with us today, becoming the first guest to make multiple appearances on our show. Welcome back, Calvin.
Welcome back,
doing?
Calvin.
How you doing?
This is kind of new for me because I was not there the first time we had you on the show. I was in hiding after that disgraceful performance of my team in the divisional round, but I'm here now. I'm good. I'm ready to go. And I think we're going to start not with our usual NFL stuff, but with the biggest news of the week involving baseball. Major League Baseball has canceled the first two series of the regular season. It will not be made up and players will not be paid. So, Kylie, you want to start us off with this one?
I have a lot to say about this one. Going back to what Calvin and I first talked about on the first episode you were on, we were just talking about how some owners and GMs and stuff just don't care, and I think this in what has happened over the past few months has just been so clear that that's the case.
Yeah, I think it. I mean, I thought we might get somewhere with when they brought in a mediator. I thought when they got like federal authorities involved, I thought, okay, they're gonna solve this. You know, the talks about them having a universal designated hitter were going well. I thought maybe, and then just to watch Rob Manfred get up on that podium, smiling, just the nastiest like snake oil salesman smile I've ever seen, and just going like, so we're gonna have to cancel the first two series of the regular season. It's a whole mess. It is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I say that obviously knowing that I've seen other strikes and lockouts before. I think the NBA lockout from 2012? Yeah, it's 2012. Mm-hmm. I have an easy way to remind myself when the lockout was if I ever forget about it, and it's that it was the year that they played fewer games, and the Charlotte Bobcats still set a record for most losses. So that's how I remember that. But yeah, it's just the most frustrating, infuriating thing ever. And if you're a baseball fan, like I would be selling my season tickets at this point. I'm that fed up.
And the crazy thing about it is Manfred doesn't really care is because he's getting paid at the end of the day. You know, those players, Manfred's still going to make his money. So it's not really a big deal to him.
Exactly. That's the whole thing. I mean, one of the big things is, I'm pretty sure it's like the arbitration money or something like that. And they're like really close, like $25,000 or $50,000 off from what they both want. And I'm just like, you're billionaire owners. 50,000 is nothing.
They don't care. They want that billions to turn into trillions.
Exactly, I mean, and that proves the point.
And Rob, I'll just do this. I'll just hit this one and get this one out of the way now. Goober of the week is Rob Manfred, especially this week. I mean, this is the same guy who said that the World Series trophy is a piece of metal. Can you imagine if Roger Goodell got up on stage and said the Vince Lombardi trophy is just, a hunk of metal that we carved up? They'd get crucified. More.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's just,
I don't think it's fair to the players either.
Yeah.
Especially because they're not going to get paid. And it's like, these guys, they already have millions and stuff like that. But just like us, they are regular people. Yes, they had the talent to make it to places that we never got to make it before as regular people, but they're actual regular people too. So they live lives, they have to pay taxes, they have to do all those things. So eventually money runs out. So these guys not getting paid, right now it's only the first two series of baseball season, but how much longer is that going to be? If we go a whole year without baseball, that's a whole year these guys don't make money. And it's like, these guys have families to provide for and stuff just as well as we do. Yes, they still have endorsements and other things like that, but that baseball contract is a big jolt of their money there that they get for their livelihood.
And I think I think something to note about this is that, so when we talked to TJ Barnes a couple episodes ago, he mentioned how, like, if you're not a big star, you're not in the NFL, you're not making the type of like let's say Pat Mahomes money. You're not making that kind of money. It's kind of like you're working a 9 to 5 just that pays really well.
Exactly.
With baseball, it's even worse. This is a sport where you can get traded in the middle of a game. That's happened multiple times. This is a sport where you can get traded for yourself. The Seattle Mariners famously did that multiple times in the 80s because they were run by incompetent buffoons. I rest my case. It's like this is the last sport you want to have a year-long lockout because a lot of these guys are going to be looking for other options. And we'll get to one player and his ideas.
That it just reminded me of when Yasiel Puig was went to like fight somebody on, I think it might have been the Pirates a couple of years ago, and they traded him from Cincinnati to Cleveland, and he was just mid-fight and got traded in the game. It was during the game too.
We can laugh about this, but at the end of the day, like, you know, it's funny. It proves our point. Yeah.
1000%.
Now, I do want to mention, I mentioned this. Some players are already starting to look for other options for payment. And Kylee, you're going to like this one. Bryce Harper has teased on social media he may consider going overseas to play for the Yomiuri Giants of the Nippon Professional Baseball League if the lockout doesn't end soon. If y'all have not watched Japanese baseball, by the way, take the MLB, put it on steroids, not, you know, the actual steroid. You know what I mean. Put it on steroids, put it in the coolest stadiums that have ever existed. Japanese stadiums are ridiculously weird, and give it college football fan-like atmosphere. That's what Japanese baseball is. Like, I will wake up at 2 a.m. to watch Nippon Professional Baseball if that's what we have to watch this year. That league is ridiculous, and it is so much fun.
So you mean to tell me I have to buy another Bryce Harper jersey?
I have to warn you, the Yomiuri Giants are kind of the Yankees of Japanese baseball. I think they've won more Japan Series titles than the Yankees have won World Series.
Jeez.
So
that's a lot of World Series titles.
Yeah.
Right.
I personally will be going for the Oryx Blue Wave, which were Ichiro's team back in the 90s. But I mean, if Bryce Harper is serious about that, I want to hear your thoughts on that, Kylee, because that's the defending MVP from your team saying he might as well just go overseas and play.
Well, he's not wrong. And this kind of brought me to something that I wanted to mention too, with this lockout. Bryce Harper has a 13-year deal, 10 years left, and after this year, it's going to be 9. So if the fans lose a year of a player, and every year, who knows what happens? There could be crazy things that happen, special things that happen, and maybe for some weird reason, some weird thing happens and the Phillies like go all the way or whatever, and we miss that year. That's 1 year gone, one chance of a World Series, and one year off of a big contract that we lose of our superstar MVP. I mean, and it's not obviously not just Harper. It's all the big contracts. It's Trout. It's Machado. It's Tatis. It's literally everybody that's on a massive contract. The fans lose a year of their favorite player.
Yeah.
Very unfortunate too.
It is, and it blows my mind.
It's unfortunate from a sports betting standpoint too, because you got 30 teams, 162 games, somewhere around 4,000 if my math is correct. That's about 4,000 games you get to bet on. So that's 4,000 games of money you're losing there for sports bettors.
Exactly, and it screws everything up.
All we can pray for, I guess, is that college baseball and college softball are good enough to hold us over until the lockout ends. I will say I will be getting my baseball. I'm glad that the college that I work for is literally starting baseball season not tomorrow, no, on Friday, and I get to call my first game there because that is going to be my fix for baseball for the next couple months.
I'll just watch the 2008 Phillies season in its entirety. That's what I'll do.
Yeah, I'll counter and I'll watch the 2009 Yankees World Series triumph. Kylee, remind me, who did we beat to win our last World Series? Who did we beat?
You got 20. You got 26 other World Series. Pick a different one.
How about 1950 when we beat the Phillies?
Okay, you got 26 others. All right, pick those.
Those are the only 2 ones we played the Phillies in. So,
all right,
yeah.
then.
Okay.
Speaking of Yankees, though, we got Derek Jeter stepping down as CEO of the Marlins.
And shareholder.
Yeah.
he's kind of doing what I don't know. As a Yankees fan, I'll say this: Derek Jeter kind of just showed up. Derek Jeter is the greatest asset to the Yankees in retirement ever. Showed up in Miami, immediately traded Giancarlo Stanton to the Yankees for nothing. Did give the Marlins a playoff appearance, which doesn't happen often, and usually ends up with a World Series triumph for some reason. Like, have you ever noticed that? The Marlins have made the playoffs 3 times in their existence, and 2 of those 3 ended with World Series championships. Yep. But yeah, now he's just and I'm trying to figure out if he had given an actual reason, and to see if I can pull that up.
He was going in a different. The Marlins are going in a different direction than he signed up for.
Okay.
See, and that's the worst part about it when you go to teams, because it's like when you go there and you agree on something and then they start taking it in a whole different direction. It's like I wasted my time here.
Exactly.
Like, I could have been at another team, had another ownership part. It's like you said, Isaac goes there and trades Stanton for nothing, literally a piece of bread,
Yeah.
And it just amazes me, because it's like you also said, he takes them to their first playoff appearance in how long? And I'm trying to do these great things for your team. Yes, I may have gotten rid of a great power hitter, but I just took you to your first playoff appearance in how long? And now you're getting away from what I'm going with, and you want to go back to what wasn't working.
Exactly. Notable thing about big players in Miami, they had Christian Yelich, JT Realmuto, and Giancarlo Stanton.
Oh my God. Okay, so Kylie, a couple weeks ago, last week at work, we were doing that thing where we were trying to guess the MLB team that is like the most obscure MLB team.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I think it's going to end up being the Marlins in a couple of years. We collectively agreed, Calvin, that the Milwaukee Brewers, the Milwaukee Brewers are, I can't even get the name right. That's how obscure they are. We collectively agreed that the Milwaukee Brewers are the most obscure baseball team, and the fact that they only have 1 World Series appearance. It came all the way back in the 80s. And outside of Christian Yelich and their awesome stadium, they play in a ridiculously small market. And if you try and name every baseball team, they're the one team that you get stuck on.
Can confirm, I got stuck on them.
I can agree with that. I definitely can agree with that. I just had to sit and think about it for a second. I'm like, yeah, I can agree with that.
Right?
Yeah. The Brewers just aren't notable. They make the playoffs, but they always just kind of go, and it's like, I don't know. It's weird. I feel like I'm going to be doing a lot of baseball. I'm so glad that as this is being announced, the guys over at Secret Base, John Boyce and Alex Rubenstein, just released part 1 of their latest documentary about some random pitcher from the Toronto Blue Jays I've never heard of, Dave Stieb. And I'm like, okay, thank God these guys are actually pumping out quality Secret Base content just as baseball is like getting canceled. We're going to be fine. If you haven't watched Secret Base documentaries, to anyone listening, go. It is the best sports writing and best sports journalism on the planet. And if any of those guys are listening, I know you guys retweeted my tweet a couple of weeks ago. Please hire me. I have so many ideas.
One pitcher from the Blue Jays that I just thought of that you might not know, Isaac?
Who?
R.A. Dickey.
I know R.A. Dickey.
Do you?
Yeah, I was saying everybody should know R.A. Dickey.
I wasn't sure if you'd know him.
Okay, see, the thing is, I know his name. Remind me, what did he do again?
He was a knuckleball pitcher.
Oh, right. Okay.
See, I got you a little bit.
You got, yeah.
If we do get a baseball year this year, I think my sleeper lock for a deep run in the playoffs is the New York Mets.
You think so?
Yeah.
They're supposed to be good. They just signed Scherzer to a massive deal. They're supposed to be good.
The Mets have this random tendency to either start a season off really good or end a season really good and just do nothing else. So if they get a shortened season, they could.
Yeah, that's why I understand why you said they're the sleeper, because they're supposed to be good, but they're the Mets.
Exactly. Like Isaac said, they either start a season really good or end a season really good and do nothing. So with a shortened season, it's like anything can happen.
Flip of a coin. You're either going to get a random World Series appearance like the Mets somehow do every 15 years. But now I'm thinking about it, they actually really do. Holy crap, that actually really is. The last 3, 86, 2000, 26, 2015.
20. Yep.
They're just so random. So I think we've talked at length about everything baseball. That's pretty much all we can talk about. I think next we should head over to a little bit of hand egg, the NFL. A lot of stuff to go with. Some kind of random funny stuff. Also some more just serious stuff to talk about. And also some cool stuff about the international games. And something I really don't want to have to talk about, but we're going to have to.
Oh, yeah.
Why do we have to bring this up? Let's start with the nice stuff. Random funny thing I saw on social media. Mac Jones says he's cutting back on ice cream for 2022. Sure, that's the problem.
He was picking up a little weight at the end of the season. It might have been that ice cream.
Probably. From one big guy to another, Mac, dude, I don't eat ice cream. I stopped eating ice cream for a while ago to try and lose weight, and I've lost almost 30 or 40 pounds. It fluctuates now. So, like, if you want to do it, go for it, bro. But just make sure your last bowl before you go on your little cleanse is the good stuff. Chocolate chip cookie dough, because you're gonna miss that.
It just reminds me of when going back to baseball for 2 seconds, when Gene Segura said that he cut out the whiskey, a little bit of the whiskey, and whiskey specifically, and he's actually faster.
He's a braver and stronger man than me. I couldn't do that.
Right.
Yeah. So some other NFL news stuff we can talk about. Sean McVay apparently had a big TV deal that was offered to him, turned it down to remain with the Rams. Curious what your guys' thoughts are on this.
I'll tell you this. Sean McVay is a mastermind. So the day he does retire and go into TV, we're going to get a great mastermind on TV. But I think that he made the right decision because Sean McVay is still very young. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is he the youngest coach that just won a Super Bowl?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So exactly. He already holds that. He holds that right there. Youngest coach to win a Super Bowl. He still has more to go. If this Rams team can come back here and they can find a way to pay all of these superstars that they still have, they may repeat again next year. And then he shows you again why he stayed right there where he's at.
Mm-hmm.
He's only 36 years old. Like, that's not the age you retire to TV for. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure he wanted to start a family, but he turned down, it was like $100 million. Was more than what was offered to Tony Romo, I believe, which was $17 million a year. So
that's the guy I'll compare him to.
Mm-hmm.
Does go into TV. Tony Romo is a great mastermind in TV.
Absolutely. I want to see them together. That'd be awesome.
Oh yeah. They would probably be able to tell us every play before every snap.
Exactly.
That would be awesome.
I would love to see that happen, especially like a Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
Or a high intensity playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, speaking of Monday Night Football, we do have our first big shuffle in the announcing lineup for this coming season. If you watch Fox broadcasts since 2002, Troy Aikman has kind of been a staple of Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Not anymore. He's going to Monday Night Football.
Good.
Personally, I am very hyped for this because Troy Aikman is actually a sneakily good announcer when it's not the Cowboys. When it is the Cowboys,
or the Eagles.
Or you got to turn it off. It's just bad. But Monday Night Football has been struggling to find a good color commentator for years. They had no problem finding play-by-play guys. Joe Tessitore was awesome. Steve Levy isn't the best, but he's a lot better than other guys that they could have considered.
Yeah.
And now that they might pair him with Troy Aikman, that actually is a combo that works, in my opinion. But now it opens.
Manning.
Well, they got their own thing. They're gonna.
I know, but it'd be cool if Manning would be the announcer instead.
That would be cool. Now, the big question still left in there, of course, is what's going to happen with Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth, because we know they're probably not going to be together again for this coming season. Al Michaels might end up doing Amazon with Kirk Herbstreit if the rumors that have been circulating around social media are true. Which I personally am like, if I'm not hearing Al Michaels calling a big game, because I'm not getting Amazon Prime, like I'm not wasting my money on that.
Price is going up for Prime too.
One of my roommates, I think, in my new place I'm moving to, has Amazon Prime, so I think we'll be good. We'll be good
nice.
there. Yeah, they have everything. Like Everything's already paid for. I'm like, oh, thank God. By the way, folks, if you're watching on YouTube, this will be the last day of me in the original room. I am moving to a new place, so we'll have hopefully an actual studio built, or the corner of my room that looks like a studio. We'll have to wait and see.
Congrats on the new place.
Thank you very much. I am terrified and currently soiling myself at the prospect of living on my own, but it had to happen. You can't be living with the folks at 24 is something I'm not interested in doing. So
right. So we got some football drama going on.
Okay.
With Kyler Murray specifically. And so what happened was after he deleted all the Cardinal stuff from his social media, his agent posted a letter basically saying that they want their contract extension now.
Personally, I don't think Kyler Murray's done enough.
I agree.
I third that.
Yeah.
If anyone in that draft class deserves a contract right now, it's Lamar Jackson.
Absolutely. 110%.
I would agree with that too. Right now, what it really boils down to is that the Cardinals as a whole are a mess. They're a mess with a facade of a good team. They can't close out seasons. The last 3 years of Cliff Kingsbury, they've completely bombed in the second half of the season. Just look what they did in the playoffs. They look terrible. Kyler Murray has been great, but hasn't done it, as you said, Calvin. He hasn't done enough to get a contract extension yet. That whole team is an absolute mess of these big all-star players who, some of whom are way past their prime. And you're going to tell me that their quarterback, who has done as best as he can, which if that's his best, okay, that's good, but it's not like that's not the kind of performance that gets you a contract extension. You're telling me that he is going to pull this fit on social media and be all cryptic just to have his agent release this massive letter and say, we want more money and we want it now.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
He could have approached it so differently. It could have. And the thing is, if he would have approached it differently, they probably would have gave him his money right then and now when he asked for it.
Absolutely.
But going back to it, like I was saying, I personally don't think he's done enough. Because you come out week one and you destroy the Titans, absolutely destroy the Titans. And you're looking at the Cardinals like, is this the year? Did the Cardinals make a little bit of a run? And then it's like, you slow down, like you said, Isaac, you're slowing down. You get these veterans who are way past their prime and things like that. Yes, you do add DeAndre Hopkins, and that was a great asset to add to your team. But then DeAndre goes down, and it's still Kyler Murray's still playing when DeAndre Hopkins goes down. What did Kyler Murray do after DeAndre Hopkins went down? But you want this massive contract, you want this massive deal,
right?
It really speaks, I think, to just. I don't want to speak ill of anybody here,
right?
But it kind of speaks to kind of the ego I feel like that a lot of younger NFL players get. If they come in and they're big superstars in college and they do well in the NFL, that you kind of see this swagger develop about them. And sometimes it comes out good. Sometimes, they get that swagger and it's great. As much as I hate the guy, Jameis Winston's swagger definitely seems to have kept him from not being absolutely horrible, even though, probably should have chilled a bit. Still not over that. But it's like, name 5 memorable things Kyler Murray has done with the Cardinals so far. The Hail Murray, getting them back to the playoffs, beating the Titans in week 1. And even then, like, I know that game against the Titans was incredible, but like, knowing what we now know, that Titans team was not as good as advertised. So I'm just saying.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing. I mean, the agent is just doing his job. So at the end of the day, you can't really fault the agent. We don't know if he, said, I don't recommend doing this. You have these options, but this is what they did. This is what Kyler Murray chose to do. The agent did not just write this letter and then post it because he wanted to. He did it because Kyler wanted to. And people have been coming out, and especially Larry Fitzgerald's father, saying that he's entitled and stuff like that. So I mean,
I wanna say something that I heard Deion Sanders say the other day, and I think it goes with Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is one of those guys. So, like you said, Isaac, in college he dominates, absolutely dominates.
Yeah.
But why did he dominate? He has CeeDee Lamb around him. He has all these 5-star receivers and athletes around him. It was easy to dominate because you have other 5-stars around you.
mm-hmm.
So then you take that 5-star out of their normal area that they're so used to. You put them with these people that are, people that have never been ranked before or anything like that. 5-stars don't even matter. You can make a phone call today and get anybody to be a 5-star if you really want to make somebody a 5-star. A phone call and some money, that'll make somebody a 5-star.
Yeah.
But the actual 5-stars that you're around, like a CeeDee Lamb and those other players, they make you look so good. When you get around these players that you're not used to, like a person who came out of a D2, a person who came out of a D3, NAIA and stuff like that, you're not the same player that you weren't once were, because in college, you can just throw it up and be like, forget it. CeeDee's down there somewhere. He's going to catch it. You can't do that with these NAIA and D2 and D3 guys that you don't really know, because they aren't the same 5-star that CeeDee Lamb was. And I think that's what that's the problem with Kyler Murray. He needs those group of 5-stars around him. If he had DeAndre Hopkins for that whole season, I think Kyler Murray would have been the MVP conversation, because DeAndre Hopkins takes you to that MVP conversation. You have a person who you can just say, forget it, DeAndre's down there somewhere, just like the Hail Mary.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, he needs those 5-star guys around him to make himself be that great person that he thinks he is contract deserving of.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's something else you should note about this. Kyler Murray isn't used to losing games.
Yes.
I looked this up. In high school and college, he lost a combined 11 games across 8 years. He's lost 25 games in the NFL, regular and postseason.
Ooh.
This man is not used to losing, and it could be affecting him.
Yep.
I'm saying that. By the way, have you ever looked up his high school stats? Kyler Murray's high school Kyler Murray is arguably the greatest high school athlete of all time. Perfect 42-0 record in high school. And over 10,000 passing yards and 117 touchdowns, and also could have gone pro in baseball.
Wasn't he drafted 9th overall?
He was drafted.
The A's definitely took him in that top 10 or something.
Yeah. It was the A's. Why is it always the A's? Why do they always pick players that end up going to the NFL?
I don't know. I'm trying to find out where he was taken.
It had to be 9th overall.
See, and then it's things like that. It's like how Isaac said, the pressure of losing. Like, is the losing a lot of pressure on him? Is he starting to think now, maybe I should have went the baseball route? Maybe I should have done, like what is really going through Kyler Murray's head?
Yeah, he was taken 9th overall in 2018.
Yeah.
That is impressive.
He was the first player to be drafted in the top 10 in both baseball and football.
There's a lot of NFL players that have been taken in the MLB draft. Just want to point that out.
Yeah.
Tom Brady was drafted by the New York Yankees back in the 90s.
Bo Jackson, that's not small though.
Bo Jackson is just my mom. Okay, my mom is a Royals fan, and if she would have had her way, she would have had a Bo Jackson shrine in our house when I was growing up. But he had to go and play for the Raiders, so she couldn't. Let's see. So I think moving on from the Murray letter, some other NFL news.
You sure you want to talk about it?
So we got some news about my Bucks to talk about. Both of them not great. First up, Ali Marpet, one of our star offensive linemen, has retired at 28. And as a 24-year-old, I got to say, imagine retiring at 28, man. Oh, that would be nice. But
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good if you're retiring at 28.
Yeah.
It is good. But
it's
that
young.
is another. Yeah. A lot of it has to do with, offensive linemen, they get more wear and tear on their bodies than anyone else. Yeah.
A lot of mental.
Massive head traumas. And that's another cog, another piece of the puzzle that was the Buccaneers the last 2 years that's gone. Like now we've lost Marpet, Brady, Chris Godwin's probably gone in free agency. Antonio Brown. I wasn't super nervous at first, but now I'm getting nervous.
I'll be honest with you. Even with that, I don't think the Bucs completely fall off.
No.
Oh, yeah, no, we're not gonna.
Definitely don't completely fall off at all. So if you don't get a quarterback, who's your quarterback week 1?
Probably Kyle Trask, or if some horrible scenario plays out, Blaine Gabbert, which.
Okay. Well, you have a guy who's been behind Tom Brady for 2 years. Any guy that's been behind Tom Brady for 2 years, you had to learn something, because look, you can go back to even when Tom Brady was in New England. Look at Jimmy Garoppolo, those games that Tom Brady was out. Jimmy Garoppolo was 6-0 in New England at a point in time. Jacoby Brissett didn't even throw a passing touchdown and was 2-1. And when he was starting over there in New England for those 3 games that he played. So you play behind Tom Brady, you learn something. Mm-hmm. And those guys, Kyle Trask or whoever it's going to be, I think they can at least come out and give you a 9-8 season now, because it's 17 games, or a 10-7 season.
I hope so. I think that this is going to be a real test to see if our success these last 2 years has been completely thanks to Brady, or it's because of how talented our roster is. I personally think it's because our roster has been super talented. I think that Brady was definitely a good leader and gave our team the confidence that we didn't have during the Jameis era. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, other things the Bucs are doing recently has me worried that we might be going down a different path. Kylie, we don't have to talk about this next thing.
Oh, we're talking about it.
We really don't need to talk about this next thing.
What we're going to talk about is them bringing back the creamsicle uniforms.
I just want to say,
boo.
I love them.
I get it. The creamsicles are cool. They're a unique color. They're flashy. They're bright. No other NFL team ever wore something like that before, except for that one time the Eagles did green and what was it? Yellow and blue.
Yeah, the Frankfurt Yellow Jacket.
So I'll say something about the creamsicles real quick though, because my grandfather, my mom's dad, he was actually a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. I don't know how I got brainwashed. I don't know how I got brainwashed into being a Washington Commanders fan, but and I don't even know how that works. So my grandma was a Redskins fan. My granddad was a Bucs fan. There got to be a lot of clashing in that house back in the day when both teams were very good. But I'll go back to the creamsicles for a second. My mom still has a shirt that my granddad had, and it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers creamsicle colors. And so I'm not too terribly. I don't like it. I mean, I don't like the design, but I'm not too terribly against it, because at the end of the day, you can pull it off somehow. It can be a nice design. If you really get used to it and look at it, you're like, all right, it's not too bad.
I'll agree to that. I'll say this much. So my issue with the creamsicles isn't the appearance and look. My issue with them is historically, those uniforms are the most cursed things in NFL history. Yep. There's a reason. I am not a superstitious person, but I believe this 100%. When the Bucs first introduced those uniforms, when they first started in 76, all the way up to their last season wearing those full time in 1996, those first 20 years, they were the worst team in pro sports. They made 3 playoff appearances. They had only 3 winning seasons, 3 playoff appearances. That's it. They were consistently the worst team in the NFL. They had a stretch where they went 2-14 in 3 out of 4 years in the mid 80s, which I think is the worst stretch in NFL history. I'll have to check that, but I'm pretty sure it is. And they lost so many draft picks and had so many great players that could have played for them just leave. We had Steve Young as our backup quarterback for years, but he was so angry about having to play for the god-awful Bucs that he decided I'd rather be a backup behind the 49ers, who already have a quarterback, and Joe Montana, than play for this team. Turned out how that worked out. We also drafted Bo Jackson first overall in 86, and he refused to play for us. He decided, I'm going to go play baseball instead. The second we switched to the red and pewter uniforms in 97, not only do we have our first winning season in like 20 years, we go to the playoffs, and 5 years later, we win the Super Bowl. Coincidence? I think not. And is it a coincidence when we brought back the creamsicles for the first time as a throwback? like from 2009 to 2012, the team went from being okay, they're working, to immediately hitting the basement again and being terrible and being so bad. Again, coincidence? I think not.
Yeah, I'm not really a big superstition guy, but I can agree with you on that. I can agree with you.
I appreciate
I'm not
that. Those uniforms are
superstitious,
so
but I
cursed.
am a little stitious.
I hate those uniforms, but you know what? If we're gonna bring them back, fine.
Bring them back for the international game you guys play when you guys are going to be playing in Germany.
Yeah. So that's the other Bucks news. The international game hosts have been announced. Bucks will be hosting in Germany. Cardinals will be hosting in Mexico. Jaguars, Packers, and Saints will host in London. Packers, by the way, this is the first time they ever played internationally. They were the one team that kind of refused to.
Is Aaron Rodgers going to be the quarterback?
We don't know,
That's
because
the
the Packers kept Rodgers and Devontae Adams off of the announcement graphic. I don't know.
Well, the Phillies, when they did the last year, 2 years ago, when they announced the new season or whatever, they did a poster and everything, they left JT Realmuto out, and guess where he is? Philadelphia. So I don't want to look too into that with Devontae Adams specifically. But Aaron Rodgers, that is telling.
I'll tell you 100%. If Aaron Rodgers isn't back, Devontae Adams isn't back.
Right.
No way Devontae Adams starts over with a who's their backup? That guy out of Nevada?
Kevin Love. Or not Kevin.
Jordan Love.
Yeah. Jordan Love. No way he starts with that guy. I just don't see it. I'm pretty sure he wants to play with a veteran quarterback, if not Rodgers, for the rest of his career.
Yeah. I mean,
I can't blame him.
I feel like we talk about this all the time, but again, like the Aaron Rodgers situation is probably going to be the biggest storyline throughout the entire offseason.
Until March 16th.
I'll counter you on that. What about Russell Wilson? Russell Wilson could be the biggest talk this offseason.
Could.
Yeah.
And I actually have a thought about that coming up in one of the other football topics we're going to talk about Russell Wilson. I have a trade I'd like to propose to you guys that could help out certain teams. Before we get there, quickly just want to mention this. The other game that has been announced, the first game of 2022 season has officially been confirmed. Raiders-Jaguars will be the Hall of Fame game. I know most people don't watch the Hall of Fame game, but
wow.
What a terrible Hall of Fame game.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, like this year we got Cowboys Steelers, which, okay, those teams aren't exactly on the same level playing field, and it is basically a preseason game, so it's just gonna be their backups. But there's historical significance. The whole point of the Hall of Fame game is supposed to, like historically significant. You bring in teams that have a lot of connections to the Hall of Fame guys, and it's just like a fun scrimmage, but with actual contact. Raiders Jags. That's all I got to say.
I'm not even gonna comment. No comment. Yeah. NFL do better.
Right.
It always could be worse. I just say that, and then I see that, and I'm like, yeah, it's worse.
It could be Browns Jaguars.
I actually prefer that because the Browns have enough.
Lions Jaguars.
That would be fun, though. That would be fun. Give the two worst teams in the league a chance to do. That's what they got to do for the Pro Bowl. I've seen Kylie. You've talked about this, right? The Pro Bowl changed the thing with the
yeah. No, but see, with the Lions are not as bad as their record is.
That's true.
But
What do you think Lions?
Huh?
What do you think it is with the Lions?
I don't know. I'm a believer in Jared Goff. I will die on that hill.
I think they just need better coaching. I mean, not Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell stays, but they need better coordinators, and I think they need a better, playbook going forward if they want to be able to be competitive. I think they can. And I'll be really interested to watch what the Lions are going to do this offseason and for next season. But because I have faith, I think that they can turn it around. That's the city of Detroit deserves some success because their sports teams have just been
1,000%.
I'm just glad the Rams won. Give Stafford a ring. That's Eminem performing at the halftime show. That's the closest the Lions have ever gotten.
It's a sign. It's a sign that the Lions are going to be the next big thing in the NFL.
We'll see. We're going to clip that, and we're gonna hold that, and we're gonna 1 year later we're gonna see what happens.
In my big mouth. Okay,
Shout out to Matt Stafford.
Right.
Yeah. So before we move on,
yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So before we move on to NHL and NBA, a couple more football things. And here's the thing I wanted to posit to you guys. Saquon Barkley, probably going to get traded.
You are not.
What?
You are not going to put Russell Wilson in Giants uniform.
Giants trade Saquon Barkley and picks to the Seahawks for Russell Wilson. Think about it. Seahawks need a running back. The Seahawks' biggest issue since Marshawn Lynch left has been that they don't have a stable running game.
They don't have an offensive line.
They can fix that in the draft. They're not going to be like Zach Taylor and say, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with our offensive line. We got to the Super Bowl." They're going to Pete Carroll's smart enough. He's going to look like we got to fix that. Giants, meanwhile, need a quarterback. They may say we're committed with Daniel Jones, but either they got to get him some veteran leadership to toughen him up, or just say, "Screw it, bring in Russell Wilson."
I'm gonna have to decline that trade just because I don't want to see Russell Wilson 2 times a year.
Right? Exactly. That's my thinking. I don't want to do that.
As a Commander fan, I do not want to see Russell Wilson 2 times a year because last year, yes, we did beat him while he was in Seattle, but he just came off a finger injury. So, that doesn't count. Exactly. If Russell could have been the actual 100% Russell Wilson, he would have thrown for 700 yards on us.
Yeah, he probably would have.
So if I'm the Giants, and let's say this is a legitimate trade potential, the Giants have the 5th overall pick, then the 7th overall pick in this year's draft. I would give Saquon Barkley and one of those picks for Russell Wilson. That would be my first offer.
As well as maybe a 2nd and 3rd round. Russell Wilson has a little bit of value on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just wouldn't want to give up both 1st round picks if I'm the Giants. I don't think, because Saquon's just a running back who has injury concerns. He's favored to go to Baltimore because they don't have enough injury issues. But your face.
I'll tell you what, if Saquon Barkley goes to Baltimore, I said this on the last episode I was on with you, Kylie.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore was a healthy team last year. Baltimore would have been in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore on the AFC side, their whole entire team, you have to think about it. They had so many star players injured. Marcus Peters, Lamar Jackson was injured for a point in time. Both running backs are gone. Like offensive linemen, receivers. Healthy Baltimore Ravens is dominant in the AFC.
They're scary.
Yeah,
I don't see why anybody would disagree.
To go to your trade, I do think that would be a great trade for both teams. Definitely, Isaac. But as a Commander fan, I definitely don't like it.
Yeah, same as an Eagles fan.
But for the Giants and Seahawks, that definitely would work out both ways. Because like you said, Pete Carroll, another mastermind, he would definitely, all right, we got Saquon now. Let's go boost up this offensive line. Yeah. And but not only that, they have to get their defense back on track too. So getting Saquon Barkley, yes, that does help them and helps their running game, but their defense hasn't really been the same since the Legion of Boom left.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And now I'm thinking about it, trading Russell for Saquon also opens up the quarterback position because his backup's Geno Smith. The Seahawks, I think, if they were to pull a trade like that, now that I'm thinking about it, they'd have to essentially create an entire rebuild, and I don't think they're ready to commit to that 100% yet. But they might as well start thinking about it. That's what I'd say.
So that's the thing, though. If Russell Wilson does end up getting traded, where do you sit the Seahawks? Are they in rebuild mode, or do you trade Russell Wilson for a quarterback in return?
Exactly. That's what my thinking is. If I'm the Seahawks, I am looking at Philly right away. That is the first team I'm looking at. They have 3 first-round picks plus Jalen Hurts or Gardner Minshew. That is who I'm looking at right then and there.
It would make Gardner Minshew I think would be a good fit. He went to College of Washington State. They love him up there. He's a quarterback who definitely deserves a starting job. I could see that. I don't know how you feel about that, Calvin, because imagine like Gardner Minshew and picks for Russell Wilson. You still have to deal with Russell Wilson twice a year. Yeah,
exactly. So I'm not really up for that, but that would be another great smart trade and definitely would work in both favors for the Seahawks. That would be a better scenario for the Seahawks because I feel like you can find a running back. Quarterbacks are so hard to come by nowadays.
Yeah.
And quarterbacks are special. That's why I understand why the Packers want 3 or 4 first-round picks for Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers, he's 37 years old, but the guy's back-to-back MVP. So
The
got a
Bucks,
lot of not
the
going to
Bucks
just
want 5 first-round picks for Tom Brady.
Yep.
I'm not paying 5 first-round picks for a 40-year-old Tom Brady. 42,
Absolutely not.
however old he is.
Yeah.
That's just what Bruce Arians said. I mean, people just keep talking about it. And he's done.
Do you, don't mean to cut you off, Carly. Sorry, but do you guys lose Leonard Fournette this year to off season as well?
Let me check.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because he actually did well for you guys.
Our free agents are gonna be. Oh no! Why?
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's go back to Seattle. Let's go back to Seattle. There you go, right there. You pick up Leonard Fournette in the free agency. Now you can keep Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Boost your lineup.
This is okay. I just want to point.
Leonard
Go ahead,
Fournette,
go ahead.
Russell Wilson, Leonard Fournette, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. Can't argue with that.
No.
I cannot.
That is.
I just want to point out the Bucks unrestricted free agents coming up, because this is a gold mine. If I'm another organization, I'm salivating at doing deals with the Bucks, because we got Andrew Adams, Giovanni Bernard, Alex Kappa, Carlton Davis, Pierre Desir, Leonard Fournette. We can skip Blaine Gabbert, William Golston, Chris Godwin, Gronk, OJ Howard, Ryan Jensen, Ronald Jones, Steve McClendon, Kevin Mentor, Rashad Perriman, Jason Pierre-Paul, Curtis Riley, Richard Sherman, Aaron Stinney, Dominican Sue, Josh Wells, Jordan Whitehead. Yes, most of those guys are old guys past their prime, but that's still like the majority of our starting lineup for the Super Bowl run. Like,
yeah.
Oh God, the creamsicle's coming back literally is a sign. Oh.
That's crazy. It really is. That's
that. You might be onto something. Oh wow.
You know what? I weathered the playoff drought from 2007 to 2020. I can weather another one. Bring it on. When the Bucks lose, it makes me a better fan.
Believe me, dude, as a Phillies fan, you do not want a decade-long playoff drought again.
Hey, listen. I'm not too much in a playoff drought, but what really have my Commanders done in the 24 years I've been on this earth?
That's true. That's true. Whenever I think it could be worse, I remind myself there are no offense, but Washington, since the Dan Snyder era in Washington has that takes the cake. That is.
We talked about it. We all agree he's got to go.
We honestly have not been good since the death of Sean Taylor. That's honestly the last time we were actually really good as an organization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I remember when that happened.
I do too. I remember everybody wearing Redskins jerseys in school the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I actually went to the Bills game that next week, that after he had died.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That was 2007, right?
2007.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was in 4th grade. I remember it. I was in school the next day. My 4th grade teacher was a massive Redskins fan. And he was just like, we all know what happened. It sucks. And he just kind of went on about how great Sean Taylor was.
Yeah, I was a
great player.
Mm-hmm. I'll never forget that Pro Bowl hit.
He is the last player to take the Pro Bowl seriously, and I appreciate that.
Right?
Yeah. So some last-minute football stuff. The last thing I want to talk about, Cardinals head coach Cliff Kingsbury and general manager Steve Keim have both been extended, which I guess if we talked earlier, maybe not the best idea. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that.
Twitter's going crazy about it.
Yeah.
I think that I don't really think that Cliff is a bad coach. I think, going back to what you were saying about the Lions earlier, I think he just needs a better supporting cast around him, because the offense is very minimal. It's kind of just run pass option, and that's what you're really seeing out of the Cardinals every play. Even on the play action, it's like more run pass option. So I think he needs to get a better supporting cast around him, and maybe even Kyler Murray can take a next step to earn that contract he wants so bad.
Absolutely. Just keeping with the, maybe it is a good idea just for familiarity, you know, keep everything familiar, keep growing with each other. Cause that's a thing that a lot of teams, with just a coaching carousel just continue to have issues with. It's the familiarity. It messes with the quarterback, and maybe he's not the best head coach, obviously, but he's been Kyler Murray's head coach for his entire career, I'm pretty sure. So maybe the familiarity will help Kyler with everything.
I think Cliff and Kyler mesh well. I think they mesh well. I think Cliff actually wanted Kyler in college as well, but Kyler ended up going to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But so I think Cliff can help Kyler become a better player. So I don't think that extending Cliff was a bad idea, because you got to look at it as well. Look at the players that Cliff has gotten on that. Well, not him himself, but look at the players that's come to that roster since he's been a head coach. You got J.J. Watt, you got DeAndre Hopkins, you got Zach Ertz, you got he's out of his prime, but you got AJ Green. You know, guys want to come there. They want to play for this guy. You know, so
yeah,
I don't think extending him was a bad idea.
I agree.
I don't think it's as bad as everybody's saying. I mean, it's back to it's familiarity, and bringing in the past few years, as you said, he's brought in people, and it's just JJ Watt would not have willingly signed there if he didn't like the coach or the organization itself. So, I mean, time will tell for sure, but I think it was a good idea specifically for a familiarity standpoint.
Yeah. That's about it for football. So I think we're going to scooch on over to talk some hockey real quick. Last weekend was the first game of the first Stadium Series game of 2022, Lightning versus Predators. Don't know if you guys watched it. It was I just want to say hockey outside does something for me.
It hits different.
Yeah, I think it's very, very cool. I think they should do a lot more games like that.
I was a bit concerned with them having it in Nashville, because that's like not exactly the best conditions in the winter for outdoor
better than
game.
Arizona.
It could be worse. I mean, they're apparently the next Stadium Series game is going to be in North Carolina, which that's just like, you know. I will say my Lightning got the dub. It was a really chippy game. Both teams were actually like, there was a lot of fights. Both teams like really hating each other. But again, as we mentioned, it's different.
I actually have not watched a hockey game since the Panthers Predators game, probably maybe a week or 2 weeks ago. And the reason I say that is because you know me, I'm a big sports bettor. I bet on the Panthers, and Panthers are winning this game. It's going back and forth. It's 4-4, third period. Predator scores 5-4. I'm like, all right, there's still time, 6 minutes left. Predator score again at 6-4. After that, I have not watched the hockey.
Yeah, it is the great thing about hockey is that it's unpredictable.
Very,
unless your team is based in New Jersey. No offense, Kylie.
Hey, we are not doing devil slander right now.
Oh, don't worry, we'll get to it when we talk about the standings.
We have 3 cups. Leave us alone.
So do we. So some other stuff. This is a little bit more serious topic, but we should mention this. So, of course, in this past week, the Russian invasion of Ukraine has kind of had shockwaves across the entire world, and especially in the sports world. And in the NHL, where a large majority of the players are from Russia, things have gotten a little complicated. The NHL halted business with Russian partners, and the press have begun to really question the allegiances of Russian players, which makes sense. Especially when local hero Alex Ovechkin is a Putin supporter. And his only comments on the whole thing were he wants no more war, just peace. which is basically a Russian way of saying, I really, really do not want to talk about this because there are KGB agents in my hotel room.
Yep.
I don't want to joke about it, but that's basically what he said.
Yeah. And I mean, people were hounding him about it. And I'm just like, come on.
I understand why people are hounding him about it. Like Ovi is a huge Putin supporter. You know, when he goes back home to Russia, usually he plays. I think he plays like exhibition games for Putin's favorite team, which I think is Spartak Moscow or Dynamo Moscow, one of those two. I need to watch more KHL games. Like Russia. That's the one thing I'm going to miss about this. If this war keeps going, the KHL isn't going to get broadcast in the U.S. anymore, and that sucks. KHL is awesome. It's like, you know how I was like going crazy about Japanese baseball? Russian hockey is like that to hockey. It's just so awesome. And now we can't get it because, you know, there's dumb politics and stuff. But so, yeah, it makes sense why people are hounding Ovi about this.
I didn't know he was a Putin supporter, but even then, I'm just like,
yeah, he's campaigned for Putin before.
But I mean, even if you have China even not agreeing with you.
And then I understand Ovia at the same time as well, though, because like you said, Isaac, his agents are in my room right now. That's the reason he said what he said. But it's more like it's not really his play. Like he's here to play hockey.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like yes, I'm from Russia and stuff like that, but I can't really say too much on this situation. The way that I want to express on this situation is really what he's saying. And it's just like, leave the guy alone, man. He's there to play hockey. Just let him play hockey.
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
That was my standpoint on it. And it's just, he's there to play hockey. I mean, come on.
That's fair enough. I'll take that. Little more NHL news just to go over quickly before we look at the standings updates. The Blackhawks have kind of been without a general manager for much of the season after the whole sexual harassment scandal broke. They finally named one, Kyle Davidson, who was their interim general manager. So really no change there. Kind of what the organization deserves, if we're being honest.
Yeah, I'm glad they're awful right now.
Yeah. So quick look at the standings. At the Atlantic Division, it is still the usual suspects. Battle of Florida, Lightning, Panthers going back and forth. Toronto creeping up in there. Those three teams, by the way, are all within 2 points of each other for leading the Atlantic. So that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. As a Lightning fan, it is not fun, but I guess if you're not a fan, it is. Bruins still holding on to the wild card slot, pretty much have it locked up at this point. Red Wings, they're average. And then Senators, Sabres, and Canadians, the less we say about them, the better. I will give Montreal credit. They have 13 wins now. Last time we checked in, they had 10. So they're getting
finally.
In the Metropolitan Division, Hurricanes leading about 5 points ahead of the Penguins. Rangers are also in the mix there. Wild card race is starting to really heat up between the Capitals and the Blue Jackets. If I'm a Caps fan, I'm sweating nervously because they're kind of falling apart. And
definitely.
Columbus has closed the gap to 8 points.
Wow.
Yeah. This is the same Caps team that was second in that division for much of the first half of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I was just about to say the same thing.
Yeah. Islanders are pretty much out of it. And Kylie's asked me to not talk about the last two teams in the Metropolitan Division. Let's just say that the New Jersey Red guys and the Philadelphia team need all the help they can get going forward. I'm getting an evil look, so I'm going to move on to the West. Out West, the Avalanche have cracked 40 wins. It's concerning. They're at 40, 10, and 4 now, 84 points. They lead everybody.
Wow.
Yeah, they're killing it. They have that division locked up. Blues are back a little bit. Blues are 14 points behind for second. So Avalanche have pretty much wrapped up the Central at this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wild, Predators, Stars, and Jets are all in a fierce battle for the wild card spot. Blackhawks are out of it, deservedly so, and the Coyotes are trash. And
They gotta move.
No, I cannot wait for them to move to Houston or Atlanta.
Montreal.
Montreal has a team.
Or,
They got it.
You mean Quebec, right? Yeah. Moving them to Quebec, that'll put Detroit back in the West, so we can get Detroit Chicago matchups more frequently.
They should expand the NFL team to Canada.
Yeah.
I would not be opposed to that, I think. Finally, in the Pacific, Calgary has jumped out to a 5-point lead. So finally, after months of the Pacific being just a battle royale, we have a winner. It looks like Calgary. Kings, Golden Knights, Oilers holding on to the remaining playoff spots there. But it's just the Kings, Golden Knights, Oilers, Ducks, and Canucks are all within like 5 points of each other. It's ridiculously competitive. Sharks also have an outside chance, but not looking good for them. And then the Kraken are just doing their own thing. Don't worry, they'll be good eventually.
That's what you like to see in hockey, though. Those teams that are very bunched up like that, and it's a competition going to get this last spot.
Exactly.
That wild card spot in the Pacific is going to come down to the wire, and it's just going to be some weirdo getting it. Like it's probably watch the Sharks somehow screw around and get that wild card spot. They will. They probably will.
Go around and find out.
Yeah. One last sport to cover. Basketball time. And
my favorite.
Before we talk about what Kylie really wants to talk about and what we all want to talk about, as with hockey, brief touch up about the Russian-Ukraine war, and that is that the NBA's 2 Ukrainian players have come out with statements. They're standing in solidarity with their country. Their teams are standing in solidarity with them. I actually didn't know that there were Ukrainian players in the NBA. I'm glad I know now.
What 2 players are Ukrainian in the NBA? I didn't know that either.
So let me get.
Why am I blanking on the names?
It is Alex Lynn and, oh God, forgive me, Svi Mikhailiuk. I'm not going to try that name.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alex Lynn's.
He's the guy that played. Did he go to Maryland, correct?
Did he? I think he did. He plays for Sacramento. Hold on one second. Where did Alex Lynn? No, shut up. I don't want to turn notifications on CBS. Come on. Yeah, Alex Lynn went to Maryland.
Okay, yep.
And in whatever his name is. Oh, it's Sviatoslav Mikhailiuk.
He must come
Kansas.
All right. Well, yeah.
Kylie, you want to talk about this next topic?
Yeah, let's dive into this. So we got James Harden making his Sixers debut. It was beautiful. He had 27 and he had a double-double. He had 16 assists. That was, it was a beautiful thing to watch. And then in his second game, he did this thing called a triple-double. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it.
First time hearing of it.
Yeah, he had 29 points. I forget the rest of it, but he kind of balled out. Embiid, Maxey all had over 25 points. Embiid had like 37. I mean, I don't want to go too crazy. I don't want to get my hopes up. I don't want to, talk any shit, but it was beautiful. He makes his Philadelphia debut tonight at 7:30. So I can't wait to watch that. It's against New York. And Ben Simmons still has not made his debut for the Nets.
So you want to complete the thought that you put in our notes?
No.
What did you call him?
I'm good.
Okay.
He
James Harden and Embiid, I knew they would be dominant the second that trade happened. And I love the trade for the Sixers because they have so many role players around those 2 superstars that can mesh so well. But
there is a but there. Yep.
But Embiid and Harden have both showed us several times in their career when it gets time to when it matters, they don't show up.
Mm-hmm.
Playoff time, what are James Harden and Joel Embiid going to do together? Because it's like you dominate a whole season and then you just turn into this person that we don't even know. Like,
Yeah.
So I love it right now. I really do. I just hope they keep it going when it comes playoff time and when it matters. Because yes, it looks great right now. You're getting wins to get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're in the top 4 in the standings. So it's like you're gonna make the playoffs regardless.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do when it matters to get to the playoffs?
Exactly. That's why I don't want to get my hopes up, because I know this, and I mean, Maxey has taken a massive leap forward. He has been amazing and fun to watch, and I just cannot believe that we were able to keep Matisse and Maxey and also get Harden with Embiid. Like it's a beautiful match. It's a beautiful team on paper, and so far these 2 games have looked amazing. It's just like you said. I'm waiting for that playoffs. I want to just see what happens. I'm not getting my hopes up or anything. There's more to it, and it's just Doc Rivers as a head coach, mid.
Yeah, exactly. Like Kobe said, job's not finished.
Job's not finished. It's not finished until you see that scoreboard and it says Philadelphia has won 4 to whatever. It is not finished until then.
Exactly. And then going back to Simmons. Oh, sorry, Isaac. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Going back to Ben Simmons, I really think Ben Simmons is going to be a great fit with the Nets.
Mm-hmm.
The guy didn't have the greatest time in a Philadelphia uniform, but you got to think about it like this. Kyrie Irving is an all-star that is one of one. There's only one Kyrie. Kevin Durant is another all-star that's one of one. There's only one Kevin Durant. When you put a guy like Ben Simmons, and yes, he doesn't have a great jump shot, but Ben Simmons is a great passer. Ben Simmons is a great rebounder. Ben Simmons can even play defense when Ben Simmons decides to play defense. So when you put this guy right here, a great passer, a great rebounder, around a guy like a Kyrie Irving and a Kevin Durant, if I'm Ben Simmons, I'm getting a rebound. First thing I'm doing is already looking to pass. I'm looking for Kyrie Durant. If they're on a fast break, all I have to do is make that unique pass or something to get it to these superstars who can score points for me. I don't have to shoot threes all day.
No.
I might shoot 1 or 2 threes a game, and I might even miss both threes a game. But I did what I'm supposed to do as the supporting role to these 2 superstars.
Yeah, and that's what I've been saying the entire time when he was in Philadelphia. I had said it from day one. He doesn't need to shoot if you have people that can shoot around him. He can pass you the ball in any type of way, and he can get to the rim. Like,
the problem with Philadelphia was, though, it was always, whose team is it? Or do we build around Embiid? Do we build around Ben Simmons? It was always that hoopla. There was never like all right, Joel, this is your team. Let's go out and do this. Just like going back to when LeBron went to the Heat, Dwayne Wade said, "Bron, this is your team." This has been Dwayne Wade's city for years and years and years. He hands a whole team over to LeBron. LeBron, this is your team. You lead us. So one of those guys could have came to that, and Ben or Joel could have been, Ben, this is your team, or Joel, this is your team. Lead us. Let's do this. But there was too much in between stuff to keep those guys acquainted.
Yeah, and it's just unfortunate because with Embiid's MVP, back-to-back MVP type seasons, maybe it would have been different. Maybe, with Embiid has had better leadership these past couple of years, especially throughout all this Simmons drama this past year. He has had amazing leadership. So maybe it would have been different if he had the same outlook as he does now. But, I mean, it's both teams can win a trade. It is possible. So maybe this is a win for both teams. I just hope we come out with me partying on Broad Street. That's my hope.
Hot take: Nets, Sixers, Eastern Conference Finals.
That's my thinking. I do not want that. I don't want that.
I want that. I want that.
I don't. No, because here's the thing. I
want that.
I do want that, but I want to go to the game. That's expensive.
I am going. Yeah, exactly.
I bought tickets I spent $250 for 2 tickets in standing room only to go to the Nets Sixers game on March 10th. I bought 2 tickets and I'm going. But he's probably not going to play.
Yeah.
Because his back injury, I mean, he's going to be fine at 12:01 a.m. on March 11th. So that's no surprise. But he doesn't want the first game in Philadelphia to be a playoff game.
Too much pressure.
He doesn't want it. That's too much energy going to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, Philadelphia will be at Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Guaranteed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they'll show up. They'll show up.
He doesn't want it. It's smarter for him to just do it now.
I agree. I'll say this. I picked the Sixers last week to be the NBA, to be my champions.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't want to be wrong about that prediction.
Yeah,
so
same.
It's like, fingers crossed that this works out. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far.
I think they should be the favorite in at least in the East to get to the finals.
Yeah.
Because when you really look at it, like, yeah, the Bucks have Giannis. Yeah, they have Chris Middleton and stuff like that. But Giannis is their actual only superstar.
Yeah.
Like the rest of those guys, Chris Middleton, he's not a superstar. Yes, he made it to an All-Star game this year, but that's because this guy and that guy and this guy and that guy was injured.
Yeah.
So like, and then you look at Brooklyn. Kyrie always has an injury here. KD always has an injury there. You never know, that could come in the playoffs. The Bulls, their first year team together, just like, I mean, the Sixers are our first 2-week team together, but I think the Sixers have that edge over the Bulls when it comes down to the superstar aspect, because
Absolutely.
I'm going to be honest, DeRozan is doing crazy, amazing things right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I would take James Harden and Joel Embiid over DeRozan and Zach LaVine any day of the week.
Yeah. I don't want to get overly confident because anytime I do, I'm always wrong. So I'm going to keep my emotions just cool it. I'm just going to
I'll agree with you guys. Will go to the championship. I don't know about when. Those guys out west are crazy.
I know. I mean, we got Phoenix, who might get Chris Paul back in time for the playoffs, and you got,
Golden State 2 games behind them. Yep. You got Memphis 4 games behind Phoenix. Like the top 4 in the West is pretty stacked.
We did beat Memphis though without Embiid, and we didn't even have Harden.
That's true.
Was Ja Morant playing?
Yes, he was.
Okay.
I was at that game. It was beautiful. It's a crazy game. But I mean, going back to the Lakers for a second, we got Russell Westbrook and them, and apparently they are mutually thinking about a trade, a departure.
The Lakers have lost 6 of their last 7 games.
Yeah.
LeBron fan, it hurts me because I hate to see that. I think Bron needs to pack his bags and let's go back to Cleveland.
Yeah.
I will agree with that. I will definitely agree with that. Like,
see, but people are saying it hurts LeBron's career. It's gonna hurt LeBron's legacy. I don't think so.
Nothing can hurt LeBron's.
No.
LeBron became the greatest player to ever play the game, and this is just my take. Nobody has to agree with me at all. But LeBron became the greatest player to ever play the game when he came back 3-1 against the Warriors. After that, he had nothing else to prove. Even if he didn't touch being the greatest with Michael Jordan in other people's eyes and aspect, he had nothing else to prove after that.
Yeah. He has absolutely not. This is coming from somebody who likes Jordan over LeBron, is not a LeBron fan. Like, he has absolutely nothing to prove whatsoever. He has 10 finals appearances. I forget how many regular season MVPs he has. He has,
I think, like only 2 or 3. Let me check that.
4?
Oh,
yeah.
4.
4. I knew it was something crazy. Yeah.
4.
So, and I mean, like, what does he have to prove? He has 4 rings, 4 regular season MVPs. He dragged that Cavaliers team to the finals all those years. I mean, how?
And it's not like he was like, you got to look at it like this. A lot of the people look at it in the ring aspect, like, oh, he has 10 appearances. He only won 4. 2007, you're playing prime Tim Duncan, prime Tony Parker, prime Manu Ginobili. You're a 22-year-old kid in 2007 when your first finals appearance. You take the Cavs that were absolutely terrible the year before. You made them into the number 1 team in the East. You took Mo Williams, Daniel Gibson, Ilgauskas, and Drew Gooden to the NBA Finals.
I still don't know how he did that. I'm going to be honest.
And people are faulting you about that. Not only that, you just beat the Pistons that were Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton, those guys. He went out and scored 45 points in the fourth quarter in overtime himself to beat those guys. Like
the team that beat the early Lakers. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be fair, that Lakers team was a mess, but fair.
But you still got Shaq and Kobe. When you got Shaq and Kobe, it's always a chance.
Yeah.
And I mean, people are saying that the question is, was it a successful stint in Los Angeles if LeBron doesn't make another playoff appearance? And I'm just like, yes.
100%.
Yeah.
He brought the city of Los Angeles a ring that they haven't seen since Kobe last brought them.
Yep.
That's true.
Not only that, he's still dominating the game at 37 years old.
Yep.
People are still looking for this guy to carry a team at 37 years old, but why should he have to carry a team at 37 years old?
Exactly.
He's done all the carrying that he needed to do in his career and got him those accomplishments that he has in his career because he's carried so many teams. He shouldn't have to. Like, it's amazing to me that people just say that his legacy will be ruined because of this or that. And it's like, look at what this guy has really done to and for the game.
Exactly.
And the reason that people say his legacy will be ruined or anything like that is because he didn't win 6 like Mike or something like that. But it's like, Michael doesn't win 6 without Scottie. Michael doesn't win 6 without the guys around him. There was and John Paxson hit a buzzer beater. Robert Horry hit a buzzer beater to keep Michael in playoff games.
Steve Kerr
hit a buzzer beater to keep Michael in playoff games. You feel me? So it's like, I just don't understand if those guys don't hit buzzer beaters there, Michael Jordan doesn't have 6 rings.
Exactly. And the thing is it's like every number 1 needs a number 2. Every single one. LeBron, Kyrie, and Bosh and Wade. He had them. Jordan had Scottie. You got Kobe with Shaq. You got every number 1 needs a number 2. I mean, you got.
Saying LeBron's legacy would be ruined off of things like that is saying if Kevin Durant never goes back to an NBA Finals, he's not a Hall of Famer.
Exactly. It's that stupid. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, looking at the rings thing, it's just like Dirk Nowitzki only has 1 ring. Only has 1, and nobody doubts his success.
That's because he stayed with one team for 20 years.
Yeah.
People love to hate on LeBron.
The loyalty factor. I don't know. I think people hate on LeBron just because of the LeBron hate. I guess really just comes from
the Jordan thing.
Yeah, I actually don't know at this point. I'm trying to think of something. Of something, but my mind is blank.
No, it really does. It comes off the Jordan comparison because there was a time where I absolutely hated Michael Jordan because I was such a big LeBron fan. I would defend LeBron so much, but then Jordan drops that 10-part documentary, and it's so funny. You see Jordan drops the 10-part documentary after LeBron comes back from 3-1, and it's the biggest thing ever, this, that, and the third. But Jordan drops that 10-part documentary, and I had to really sit back and think to myself, like, this dude was crazy. Yeah. Like, what he did to the game,
literally
phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Like, he was out of this world. But then it took me to sit back when I saw that, and I had to sit back and look at the LeBron thing, and I said, I'm not comparing these 2 guys anymore because Jordan did so much for the game, but LeBron did so much for the game too. Mm-hmm. And that people skip over Kobe Bryant too. Kobe Bryant did so much for the game, and it's like, we didn't appreciate these guys, these 3 guys careers because we wanted to compare them so bad.
Yeah.
But all these guys did great things for the game in so many different ways. And even people in the NBA look up to these guys, Michael, Kobe, and LeBron. There's still guys that LeBron is playing against that look up to him.
Yeah.
So like, let's just appreciate his greatness instead of saying his legacy would be torn down because he didn't do this or he didn't do that.
We have had the absolute privilege, us three at our age, to experience an older Jordan, the beginning of Kobe, and LeBron. That is, Kobe and LeBron have both played for 20 years. And Jordan played from 84 to 98 with a year and a half off, and then, whatever with the Wizards. We have been so fortunate to have three of the greatest players of all time in our lifetime. I don't see why the media is forcing us to compare them.
Yeah, because they've run out of other things to talk about.
Exactly.
And it's actually sick. They have run out of things to talk about because every time I go on ESPN, I feel like they're talking about LeBron. And it's like, even during football season or baseball season or hockey season, and it's like, is there anything else other than LeBron to talk about? Like, I know you guys get paid millions of dollars to talk on a TV show. You have to have other things to talk about than LeBron James.
Exactly. It's the same thing with Tom Brady in football. Like,
yeah.
I think I said this to you last time when I was on here, Kylie. Skip Bayless would not have a job if it wasn't for LeBron James.
You did say that.
That's true.
Skip Bayless will retire as well when LeBron James retires.
Please retire. Like, maybe if that means Skip Bayless retires, then LeBron, please retire, because I'm so sick of Skip Bayless. Like, I respect you, LeBron. I want you to keep playing. I want to see with Bronny, but if that means Skip Bayless retires, then please.
Yeah. Not even with LeBron, Skip Bayless has the worst takes ever.
He really does. It's incredible how he even has a platform.
There's a big reason why I don't really pay attention to major sports journalists anymore.
Exactly.
It's the reason why I focus a lot on more of the independent creators, like the
Right.
guys like from Secret Base, because they're not about takes. They're actually like doing in-depth reporting and, good stuff. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And then you have us who have opinions on it.
The sports media landscape is just incredibly toxic. Like,
It is.
I know I've been kind of quiet during this time because I've been letting you guys get through this. But my 2 cents on this is this: there is no one GOAT in basketball. Mm-hmm. There is a GOAT for each era. If we're being completely honest, and you want my opinion, Bill Russell is the greatest basketball player of all time, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, look, George Mikan in the 50s, Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain in the 60s. We'll skip the 70s because I can't name one. The 70s were weird for basketball. Magic and Larry in the 80s. Michael in the 90s, LeBron in the 2000s,
and Kobe.
And Kobe in the 2000s, LeBron in the 2010s.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
And then you got Giannis and Luka.
Put Wilt for the 70s. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
There are your GOATs. Like, there's no one GOAT. In any sport, you can make the argument that some player is the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, there's no one GOAT. Unless it's hockey, in which it's Wayne Gretzky. But that's just because, that's
undisputed.
What he did transcended anything. So,
exactly. I agree with you 100% on that, Isaac. There's no one GOAT at all.
Yeah.
And it's, the comparison stuff has to stop.
Yeah, and people were doing that in the 80s. They were comparing not LeBron, Jordan and Magic. So I mean, they're always going to compare, but it's just like us as fans need to just appreciate the players we have while we have them.
Right. And then to go back on that, why isn't Oscar Robertson talked about as the greatest then? This guy supposedly had these crazy stat sheets. Mm-hmm. I saw like he put up a quadruple double one game. Like, I don't even understand.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on a second. Wait,
look it up. Look it up. I quote tweeted it one time on Twitter, and I was like, I need to see the video. This guy's stats is ridiculous. There's no way that.
Oh, he did.
Yes, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hang on. There's a whole bunch of guys who have done this. Okay, so today on the Sports Guys podcast, Isaac learns there is a quadruple double is possible. Don't know why I didn't know that before.
One
Yeah.
final thing about the NBA before we head out is Isaiah Thomas returns to the NBA and he signs a 10-day deal with Charlotte. I love it.
Is he?
Yes.
Is he? Is this going to be like his last ride? Is he going to retire, or is this?
Nah, I think he has been balling out in the G League. He's been going absolutely insane. So I wish him all the success in the world. I love LaMelo. You know, I love Jordan. This is Jordan's team. So Isaiah Thomas, I wish you nothing but the best.
Hopefully, that can give Charlotte the boost they need to get into
The
to get out of the
tournament?
play-in get out of the play-in tournament.
Yeah.
Before we go,
Started
sorry.
today. Are they in the play?
They're in the play-in tournament.
Okay.
I was going to go to that now. Quick look at the standings before we wrap things up. In the East, Miami's pulled ahead. The first 6 seeds out of the play-in tournament: Heat, Bulls, 76ers, Bucks, Cavs, Celtics. In the play-in tournament right now would be Raptors, Nets, Hornets, and Hawks. Out: Wizards, Knicks, Pacers, Pistons, and Magic. In the West,
Man, that's sad.
yeah. In the West, Suns 1 seed, then Warriors, Grizzlies, Jazz, Mavericks, Nuggets safe. Timberwolves, Clippers, Lakers, Pelicans in the play-in tournament. Out would be Trailblazers, Spurs, Kings, Thunder, and the Rockets.
Yep.
So go ahead, Kylie.
So for those who don't know exactly what the play-in tournament is, you got the 7, 8, 9, and 10 seeds in the conference playing against each other for the final 2 spots in the playoffs. And so the 7th seed only needs to win 1 game. The 8th seed needs to win 2 games. And the 7 and 8 seeds, never mind, I forget what the whole thing is. I'm blanking. I had it, then I lost it.
What
like that.
What if this is all part of LeBron's plan as well? What if he wants to be even greater by being in the play-in tournament and now he goes all the way to the finals? What if he just turns it up to a different notch in the playoffs?
I hope not, because I want the Sixers to win the finals.
Yeah.
At that point, there's not even a comparison anymore. There wouldn't be a comparison.
Yeah.
Jordan's never taken an 8 seed to the finals.
It's true. That's true.
That's because Jordan never was on a team that was an 8 seed.
That's true.
No, wait, he was once or twice. Okay, never mind.
One final thing before we wrap up. Calvin, you are the sports betting genius. What things are you betting on? What are you paying attention to this week?
It's funny. I've been checking the time over here because I'm going to casino right now. I have to go put some bets in, but today we're focused on basketball. I like the Sixers today. Going Sixers. I don't think that the Knicks is a good enough team to stick with the Sixers. So we're betting on basketball today. We're betting on hockey today. Probably get a couple college basketball games in just because it's around that March Madness time. So these guys, those last guys, want to get into that tournament and stuff like that. Hockey, basketball, college basketball. I might even throw a little bit of college baseball in there today if there's enough games still on when I get over there.
Wow.
All right.
You bet on everything, dude. Oh my god.
Damn. Which casino do you go to, by the way? Is it the one in Arundel Mills?
Nope.
So
Maryland.
I actually go to the one right above Capital One Arena.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I went to one for the first time for my friend's birthday at Arundel Mills, Maryland Live, and I was like, "This is the sports book they have there is." I thought my buddy's like, "They got a sports book we got to check out." I'm like, "Oh, so like there's got some machines or like the computers set up that sports." No, it's a whole thing. It's like a mini arena in the middle of the casino, and I'm thinking,
Yep.
"Wow, those are the biggest TVs I've ever seen."
It is crazy because they literally have every game that you bet on is literally just sitting there watching you, and you're like, "Oh man, what's this team doing? Oh man, what's this team doing?" Yeah. But
awesome.
if I had to, I would bet tennis. Honestly.
Tennis.
I like to gamble around in sports. You never know. Because I see guys every day who are betting me. I try to stay away from like crazy parlays and stuff like that. I just like to I just like to make money, whatever profit it is. I don't care if I bet $10, $50. I'll bet.
Right.
I don't care if I bet $100 and win $300. I'll take it. But I see a lot of people that hit for $100 grand, $200 grand, $1 million and stuff like that. I know my time is gonna come for one of those days soon.
Absolutely.
That's why I just mix and match with all sports to bet on, because I actually do have a friend that bets on tennis and he hits very well. And he actually won $7,000 last week on tennis bets. So I think I'm getting into tennis soon.
Well, good luck with that, man. As always,
good luck.
This concludes the episode of the Sportsgasm podcast. Calvin, thank you so much for coming on again.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
Good luck on the betting.
Thank
you. As always, you can check this out on YouTube, Spotify, Anchor. We're trying to get on Apple Podcasts. You can watch this on TikTok and all that. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see you guys next week.
One more thing before we go. When my daughter's born, we're gonna have to get her on this podcast here because she's a sports bettor herself already.
Absolutely.
Nice.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. Congrats again, dude.
Yeah, congrats on that.
Thank you very much. You guys have a great day.
You too.
All right, you too, man.
Bye, guys.